Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be making a beer kit made by Midwest Supply. It's called This Bud's For You, but I'm going to kind of change it a little bit of my own. My dad, kind of the story behind this idea, my dad always drank Budweiser as growing up as a kid and in my teens and stuff, so I'm kind of more of an IPA guy, so I kind of wanted to see if I could make a beer where we could kind of meet in the middle. So like a Bud IPA. I've always wondered why they don't have one. That's kind of what I'll be doing today. I do have a cool label which I got on made on grogtag.com. This is a picture of me and my dad that I got from my sister. I'm told that we're in Denver, Colorado there. I thought it was really cool. I'm calling it Not My Dad's Bud, not because it's not for him, but it's not the style that he grew up with. And I think this picture is cool. You've got this young guy with a cigarette and a baby, like totally trying to get the cigarette. Very un-PC, which is cool. So I'll get into the ingredients and how I'm going to put this together. Okay, so this is a pretty simple recipe, and I got all the ingredients laid out here. The first step we'll do when we get 1.5 to 2 gallons in the kettle here for 15 to 30 minutes at 155. We're going to add these specialty grains in the grain bag here and let it steep for that time. Once that's done, we take it off the heat and we add the rice solids and the pills and malt extract. You know, Budweiser is known for having rice solids in their beer, and you know that's really what this kit is trying to capture. And then for our hops additions, once we return it to a boil, we've got the German Hallertau hops, and I probably mispronounced that wrong, even though I went online to learn how to pronounce it. Sorry. We got one addition for the full 60 minutes of 3/4 of an ounce, and one addition for the last minute of 3/4 of an ounce. I am doing a more hopped version, so these bags of hops are a full 1 ounce. I'm going to use the full 1 ounce. So outside of what I'm going to do to change it, my plan was to double the malt to increase the alcohol content, number one, and then number two, I'm going to add an ounce of Chinook hops for the full 60-minute boil, an ounce at 20 minutes left, and an ounce for the last 5 minutes. Now my reason for the Chinook hops is I had done a beer through Northern Brewer that I really liked. It was an all Chinook hops beer. I thought, wow, this would be a cool hops to have in a Budweiser. Upon reading the recipe for that beer again, I was totally convinced it was Chinook. I've found it's actually all Centennial hops, and if you want to try an all Centennial hop beer that's really great, that's on northernbrewer.com site, and it's called Dead Ringer. So did I make a mistake getting Chinook hops? Maybe. And are they complementary? Well, when you read on these, you've got spice, pine characteristics, and subtle grapefruit, which sounds good to me. And these guys are mild yet spicy with floral and citrus. So I mean, they sound complementary to me. It is an experiment. Can it go wrong? Yeah, maybe. Either way, I think I'll drink it and like it. Now the concept behind the malt. This brought up a problem with the yeast that I discovered last night. By doubling it, I assume I double the alcohol level. I was thinking that Budweiser's 3.5, but it's definitely 5%, which my friend Dave tried to tell me, and yes, Dave, you are correct. It is absolutely 5%. And so this kit will deliver 5%. So if I'm getting all that alcohol from the malt and I add both of these, I'm gonna be at 10%, which this yeast, which I researched, is the Safe Lager S23, is tolerant to 9%. So if I do that, what's going to happen is the alcohol will become strong enough to where it'll kill out the yeast and stall it, and that last 1% won't get fermented. And I'll be bottling with a sugar syrup, so if there's no surviving yeast, it won't carbonate in the bottle either. So the slight adjustment there is I'm going to be using one full one and half of the second one. So again, my bad failure to research earlier. And speaking of the yeast, I got this stuff for Christmas from Jamie, and it's really cool. This is fast pitch, so it's the first ever canned wort. So basically what you're doing with this is creating a starter. Anytime you're doing a beer, especially what they term a big beer, a high alcohol or whatever, by using a starter and getting your yeast started ahead of time, you have a better ferment, a quicker ferment, cleaner, usually less off flavors. And this stuff, you add the can and add the same amount of water and then put your yeast in. And upon reading the label closer, I mean, this label, if you look at it, it's got weird like dots and stuff all over it. I was reading reviews online and learned, I mean, you can literally do this 5 minutes before you're going to pitch the yeast. I did it last night, so but I did read online there's a couple guys that did it like 2 days before they brewed and had great results, and people that use it 20 minutes. So I don't think there's a problem. So if you look at this starter, and hopefully you can see this, it's bubbling pretty seriously. So I've got a pretty strong ferment going before I've even pitched my yeast. So I don't think we'll have a problem with the yeast getting through this as long as I keep it under 9%. I'm gonna shoot, I'm hoping for 7, but after we get through the boil, I'll definitely check that, and we'll know where we're at. So let's rock. Okay, so it finished with a quick boil and tested the gravity on this. We're right at 7%, so perfect. Our yeast is going to be able to handle it. I've got our yeast starter right here, ready to drop it in, and you can see here it's still, if you can see that bubbling pretty furious, so we should get pretty fast reaction. Go ahead and, well, as they say, pitch the yeast. All right, now that's beer. Okay, it's 4 weeks later. Not My Dad's Bud has gone through primary fermentation for 2 weeks. Then I racked it into a new container for 2 weeks. And now I got it in here to my bottling unit. Also added a syrup I made of about 2 cups of water and 5 ounces of priming sugar. Kind of a rule of thumb, if you're gonna bottle and you want it to carbonate in the bottle naturally with sugar, you want 1 ounce per gallon. So that's where we're at with this. My bottles are clean and sanitized. We're ready to bottle. Let's rock. Alright, so I'm here with my dad, and today we're drinking Not My Dad's Bud. This is a Budweiser beer I found that I increased the malt on to increase the alcohol, and I added some of my own Chinook hops to make it a little hoppier, so to kind of bring it kind of to Budweiser and to my side, to see if we have a beer that we can both kind of meet some common ground on. Sounds like it's carbonated all right. There you go.
smells good. You put a lot of Budweiser employees out of business. Right?
It definitely tastes like Budweiser, but it has a little bit more.
A little more malt to it, a little hoppier.
Yeah.
But it's good.
This is good. This is a Sunday afternoon. Oh yeah, and I got a blown up label frame for my dad of the beer label on Mother's Day, just what you would think. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, man.